Hello everybody, this is Kay, and welcome back to my channel, Junking with Gigi. This is the second video in a series that I started on what to do with all that brown packing paper. In my first video, I made some of my own brown paper bags, and I'll show you those real quick. I made some large ones that can be used as journal pages. I made some medium-sized ones. I also went back later off camera and made some real little ones. And that's just one way to use some of this excess brown paper that I have laying around. I don't know if you do. I look at trash in a whole new way now that I've started junk journaling. And I tend to keep all this stuff because I know I'll use it eventually, but it is building up on me. So idea number 2 for today is to make clusters. Now I made a couple over here that as an example of what can be done, and the brown paper is just the background for this. And so I thought I would make some more today on camera. Okay, so my idea was to use this as the background and to start out by doing stamping on this piece of brown paper. Now this stuff is a little bit heavier than the brown paper I used to make the paper bags with. I just thought that would be a better base for some clusters. I've seen other YouTubers, and I have myself used these clusters as just embellishments on the corner of a page in a journal. I've seen them used as tuck spots. Depending on the size, they can be used as pockets or belly bands, or even as a focal point on a journal cover. It just all depends on what size you make them. But the first thing I'm going to do is some stamping on the background to create my base. And I've pulled out a few stamp sets, and I've got my Ranger Archival ink, jet black ink here. I pulled out this stamp, this is all one stamp, and it's just kind of a background stamp that's got some numbers and symbols, some script writing on it, and it's just really pretty for if you want to cover a lot of area with one stamp, which I'm going to do. But I also want to use some other stamps, and I've got this really pretty set of butterfly stamps. And I've also got this set of some timepiece stamps, as well as some other text stamps. I think it's in French though, so except for this word, news. I don't know for sure what all these mean. I'm sure it's appropriate though. So that is what I'm going to do first. I'm going to stamp all over the background of this brown paper. Okay, so I've got a piece of scrap paper here to put underneath so that I can be sure and go off the edges of the brown paper but not get black ink all over my pink mat like I did up here. I can't get that out. It's there for life. But the way I like to use this big background stamp is, rather than trying to do this all over the stamp pad, I like to turn this stamp image side up and take my stamp pad and do this. I think it makes it a lot easier than trying to manage this big stamp, because I don't have one of those gigantic acrylic blocks that some people have to put their stamps on. So I just find this a little bit easier. So I'm going to just take that now and turn it over. Put it down on my brown paper, kind of going off the edge a little. And then I just take a little cloth and kind of go all over like that. Lift it up. And I've got a nice stamp there. Oh, it's smeared a little, but it's going to be okay because this is the background. And then I just like to turn this in different directions so that all of my stamping isn't going the same way. So it's kind of random. That's the idea here, is just to kind of randomly stamp all over the back of this brown paper. So I'll speed this up a little so that we can get through this whole section fairly quickly. So I do have a smaller one of those little acrylic stamping blocks, which I can use for some of the smaller stamps. Okay, so I've got that all stamped, making a really nice background for my clusters. I tried to fill it up pretty good because I'm going to be dividing this up into, tearing it up sort of into different sizes for different size clusters. And I've also gathered some other elements to decorate my clusters with, including some really pretty vintage music paper here. I've got a little bit of scrapbook paper just to add a little bit of subtle color if I want. I've got some lace here that I can cut up into little pieces and snippets and put on there. And I've also got this package of some die cuts, which I got from Hobby Lobby recently. It's the Paper Studio. I think I'm just going to get a little container and kind of dump these out for now, just so I can kind of look through them and see what I want to put on these clusters. I'm going to start off by tearing off just a strip of this paper to make a belly band. I have a journal I've been working on that I think I want to put one of these cluster belly bands in, and it's about 7.5 inches tall, so I'm going to tear this down to about that height so it fits in my journal. See, I'm starting at 2, so I need to go to about 9.5. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes. Sorry, my math in my head doesn't always come to me very easily. All right. So there I've got one piece for a cluster for a belly band, another small piece for a tiny cluster, which would make just a good decoration for a page or even a tiny little tuck spot in a journal. And then I think I'm just going to kind of randomly tear up the rest of this for different size clusters. Okay, so as you can see, I'm going to have quite a few clusters out of that one piece of brown paper. I think just for the sake of time, so that this video doesn't get too long, I'm just going to decorate a couple of these today. I definitely want to do the little belly band piece I cut out. And maybe I'll do one of these tinier ones. And then this one I was actually thinking might be a good pocket, if I could turn it this way and decorate it and leave the top open for a nice pocket in a journal. So maybe I'll do those three on camera. Okay, so this is what I came up with to decorate my clusters. A little deer, mushroom, a little squirrel image for this tiny one. I'm going to ink the edges of all of these pieces. I think I'm going to use my walnut stamp. You can read that, but it's Distress Ink by Ranger. Alright, so I've got these all inked up around the edges and I've got them laid out like I want them. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my glue stick and a little bit of Fabri-Tac to secure everything down, but then I'm going to take it to my sewing machine and maybe just do like a little random stitching across the whole thing. I think that'll look really interesting. So let me glue these pieces down. Okay, everything is all glued down. I love the way these look already, but I still want to do the sewing like I said I was going to do a minute ago. However, I'm going to let this glue all dry real good before I take it to my machine so it doesn't gunk up my sewing machine needle or anything like that. So I'm going to pause the video, take a little break, maybe have some lunch, and then I will be back after I do the sewing to show you the final result. Okay, so these are finished, and I'll give you a little close-up of each one. I'm really happy with the way these turned out. I think they look awesome. I just kind of sewed randomly around each one with some dark brown thread, and I went ahead and added a little bit of bling, just some adhesive black square jewels that I had. I did use a little bit of glue on there because I don't trust the adhesive that's on there entirely. But there's that one with the little squirrel. Here's the one with the mushrooms with the little bling around here, and I just kind of went all the way around. I was trying not to go right through the focal point image. And then here's the little deer one that I'm going to use as a belly band in my journal that I'm working on. I just love the way these turned out, and I'm so excited about doing the rest of them. So this gives you another idea of what to do with all that brown paper if you have a little bit of a hoarding issue with it like I do. This is idea number 2 of doing something with all that brown paper. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed my video and got some good ideas from it. And if you did, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. And you can also click that little notification bell to be alerted of when I've uploaded a new video. And I just wanted to mention one more time my daughter and my website, Etsy site. It's Faith and Fancy Designs on Etsy. And we've got some really neat items up there on our site right now, including several Christmas items.